Thank you. And Russell assures me that he's not leaving because what I have to say isn't worth listening to. He's going out to get a very good coffee. For everyone else, the door's now closed and you will have to do with bad coffee if you haven't had a good one. ACPET, it has been my privilege for the last 14 months to be, for most of that time, the acting CEO or the CEO. I recall this time last year as our former CEO was leaving, thinking about what an enormous challenge I was happy to take on as the acting CEO, and I think Jen Tyrrell touched on some of it in her comments earlier this afternoon. It is truly one of the most extraordinary member organisations, not just to be a part of, but to be fortunate enough to have the privilege to lead. We have 1,100 members. I don't think any two of them are alike. They range, as you've heard earlier, from those delivering private primary and secondary school education, a number of standalone English language schools, a large number of our members who are vet providers who provide high quality vocational education and training, mostly to domestic students, and a large number to international students. We also have a growing number, currently over 140, private higher education providers. Most of them are dual sector, offering qualifications in both the vet and higher education space. Some of you will be surprised to know that they offer not just undergraduate but postgraduate education as well. And while most of them are private businesses, some are also universities or the private arms of the public universities. So you are truly a diverse group. It has been a great pleasure getting to know you and getting to know your businesses, and it is nothing if not a privilege and a challenge to represent you. It has been a terrific day for me today to be here with so many international delegates and so many of our members who are involved either with international education currently onshore or an increasing number who are working offshore, mostly in the Asia Pacific region, but some right across the globe. And when I think about implications, opportunities and barriers for international education in our region, and yes, I'm not Tony Abbott, even though I was born in the UK, I consider myself to be very clearly a part of the Asia Pacific region. Some of the thoughts, and they've been picked up in the comments and themes today, but I wanted to just encapsulate them for you because I think it helps members and our partners understand where we as an organisation are coming from. It's true that Australia is one of the more developed countries in the region, but certainly by no means the only one. We do have a strong tertiary education system and, although it might be getting a bit patchwork, a strong economy. A number of speakers have talked about the long history of government and business leaders from across the Asia Pacific region having been educated in Australia, and that has certainly built a very strong understanding of Australia and its way of life amongst the people in our region. What Rowan, Richard and others have highlighted is that to date that has mostly been a one-way relationship. And while international students will always look to spend time learning and working in Australia, after all, it's a great place to live, the future for international education quite clearly lies beyond our borders. Our opportunities as education and training providers and our learners, our sons and daughters in their learning, lies offshore, in the region. And we've heard a lot about partnerships and the importance of partnerships. I actually want to put a different term on the table: friendship. I was delighted to be able to spend Sunday and Monday in Darwin at the start of the week. And 9 of our most intrepid international delegates joined us there. Some had flown over 20 hours to be part of our Gateway event in Darwin. The Northern Territory Government and ACPET wanting to focus on international education in that region of Australia. And one of the things that it was a great delight to me, and for those of you that know me, I do have a slightly wacky sense of humour, but it was the humour, the fun and the camaraderie, as well as the business discussions that we had and the aspirations that we shared, which were such an important part for me of Sunday and Monday, and the conversations that I have had today and those that I look forward to continuing, not just through the end of the week, but beyond. And there are a number of initiatives that ACPET will put in place following today's forum to cement those friendships. I've spoken about what people in the Asia Pacific region have learnt through studying in Australia. I was struck this afternoon by Dr. Ismail Jumiati's insights that she gave us into the Malaysian government's view. And I want you just to stop and think for a moment, because I'm still getting goosebumps thinking about it. How inspiring is it that the Malaysian government's aim is to produce people with towering personalities? It's an awful lot more than you would see in an Australian government policy document. Towering personalities. When we think about the Asia Pacific region, it is hard not to have your mind scrambled by the sheer size of the region and the size of some of the countries in the region. I hope you've all read, and I know most of our international delegates, probably much more diligent than the local Aussies in the room, have read the briefing pack that came out for the forum. When you read through the numbers in there, and you realise that 60% of the world's population lives in our region, and that is nearly 4 billion people, it's an awful lot of people who want to work with us to educate their young people and those currently in work for better life chances. Ranjan Chowdhury has given a fantastic insight into the challenges that the Indian government is facing and how they are step by step very deliberately looking to challenge them. 500 million people to be upskilled by 2022 is something that I keep saying to myself and I still can't get my head around. Most recently, some of you who do read my newsletter will have seen me hugging a panda. I was very pleased to participate in the Trade Minister's delegation to 5 Tier 2 cities in China just 2 weeks ago with a number of ACPET members. The cities of Guangzhou, Changsha, Wuhan, Chengdu and Chongqing are all, as Richard mentioned earlier, populations above 9 million people. And my